rust. It's the arch nemesis of every restorer, fabricator, and wrench turner who's ever brought an old vehicle back to life. We've scraped it, sanded it, blasted it. But what if there's a better way?
We just pulled the trigger on something serious. A 1500 watt laser rust remover from a company called AKQ-1500. It's called the AKQ-1500. It ships from China, and it's landing here in just a few days. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around for what's coming.
So let's break it down. Laser rust removal, also known as laser ablation, uses a high-powered beam of light to vaporize rust, paint, and even corrosion without damaging the metal underneath. Unlike sandblasting, there's no media involved, no grit, no dust clouds, just precision, controlled laser energy that heats up the rust, causes it to break its bond, and then literally evaporates it into the air.
It's clean, it's quiet, and it's something we think will completely change the game for how we tackle our restorations, whether it's frames, body panels, or detailed engine parts. Now you might be wondering, why AKQ-1500? After months of research, reviews, and even some direct conversations with their support team, we decided the AKQ-1500 was the sweet spot. It has continuous wave output, adjustable power up to 1500 watts, water cooling system, and configurable lens angles for different surfaces. It's powerful enough for real restoration work, not just demo videos, and it's backed by solid specs and a company that actually responds to questions. If you've been hunting for a legit vendor with reasonable pricing, AKQ-1500 deserves a look. And no, we weren't sponsored by them.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to put this machine to the test, first on some heavily rusted parts from our 1957 F100 build, then maybe some intricate aluminum pieces, maybe even the frame, engine, and transmission. Year, we're going all in.
All right, it's finally here. Excited to get some unboxing going. Let's just crack into it and see what's in there. But for what it does, cleaning metal, not having the mess of sandblasting and all that stuff, it's pretty cool. It was packaged really well, came in great condition. This is the piece of steel that I'm going to be using. This has been sitting outside for 2 years. It's a piece of cast iron that was used for a barbecue grill, basically. That's what I'm going to test it on. Not going to be something that's like flash rusted. That's been seriously rusted for like 2 years outside. So let's get it fired on and go from there. So for my first test, I'm going to be doing 1,000 watts. This is currently at 68 Fahrenheit. So as I blast it, or after I kind of get it cleaned up, I'm going to take another temperature check. Again, this is pretty thick cast steel, so I'm not expecting too much of a temperature change, but let's see. So you can see how fast that went. You can see that the temperature actually got up to about 170. It's cooling down pretty quick, but 165 still You know, so it gets quite warm. One note, I did actually run this at 100%, so that was at 1500 watts. But you saw how fast, I mean, it's cleaned that thing right off to bare steel. I mean, look how much rust was there before compared to how much the difference is now. So that's pretty fascinating. I mean, you gotta be, I mean, that's pretty, the width is pretty good too. I mean, I did 2 passes to get the full width of both sides. That's pretty impressive. It made a bit of a clean spot on my concrete. But yeah, it made quick work of that. But given the fact that, let's see where we're at now, still temperature. Yeah, 152. So I mean, what we were at 70 before, so definitely doubled the temperature. You'd want to be careful with 100% on getting into some sheet metal stuff. So I'm gonna have to do some more experiments. Yeah, anyway, that's the first run with the machine. The initial setup, some of the stuff that I had to go over from the last video. Pretty simple to get going. I mean, once you kind of like fire it up. But one thing I did notice is, for some reason, you had to hit sway and then laser. And then on the gun, you have to push the trigger twice for it to actually start. So anyways, I'm really impressed by that. I mean, that cleaned off so super quick. Time to do some more testing. It is a bit smoky in here. I'm gonna open some garage doors and get that out of here. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. All right, we're back again. This is a bit of a mixed video because it's, again, a test for the laser rust repair in a practical situation, doing the restoration on this F-150, but also a little bit of progress on the F-150. So you can see here where I've already cut a patch panel piece to replace this that came out of it. You can see it was pretty full of holes and rusted out. So I drilled out the pop welds, and you can see how there's rust on the inside. And cut this piece for the patch, and I'm ready to put it on, but you're gonna see, I'm gonna take this off, you're gonna see on the inside how there's surface rust in there that, you know, isn't caught when it's doing sandblasting. So let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so you can see here what I'm talking about, like all this surface rust after you split the 2 pieces of metal apart, all in here, all through here. There's a couple pinholes that have developed. That has to all be cleaned, hit with a weld-through primer before you put the piece on, if you want to make it so that you're preventing as much rust in the future as possible. So that's what I'm going to hit with the laser cleaner now and see what it does. I'm going to be running it at 50%, so about 750 watts. I'm going to check the temperature before and after, so let's see what it does. Okay, so checking the temperature, we've got 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So you can see that's pretty good in terms of rust clearance. So that's what I got for temp. Ooh, it's saying 360. So that's definitely getting up there. So you do have to kind of watch your temps. It comes down, coming down pretty quick, but that's at half. So I don't think I'd want to go any higher on that than on sheet metal, because you'd have to be concerned about warpage hitting these temperatures. I'm going to try a few less passes and see if I could get the same cleanliness without taking so many passes. So yeah, it's still saying I've got temperatures at about 400 there when I hit it. These temperatures are just coming down, but I did try to do a lot faster. Over here I've got about 74, 80. I'm going to hit this one a lot faster and see how it goes.
So yeah, 230. So 50% is probably 750 watts is about the highest I'd want to do on sheet metal. It's not melting anything, it's not blowing through. So I think it's pretty good from that perspective. I think I'm gonna have to do some more tests in terms of what warpage would look like. But let me just finish cleaning off the rest of this rust, and I'm gonna try and do a little bit here where they've got some epoxy primer, so I've got a place to do a clean weld. All right, just gonna do a temperature check after hitting all that. You know, at 158, 174, 160, that's not bad for temp. So it really hits higher temperatures when you're actually hitting rust, but when you're going over top after the rust has been cleaned, the temperatures really don't go up too much. So it must be the reaction of the rust burning off. I see a few more places here I want to just clean up a little bit of the epoxy primer for welding, and I'll just do that.
So there you can see the final result. I mean, it's really nice and clean. You saw it in real time. It happened super quick. Temperatures did get up there. You got to be careful. So like I said, I don't think I would go higher than 50% on sheet metal. But that's ready for me to start putting some weld through primer on and weld my patch panel on. So I'm pretty impressed with that. Hope you enjoyed it. That was just another sort of test video. I'm going to do some more test videos with steel, see what I can get to with distortion and warpage. You've obviously saw the results. And then on the cab corner, still really impressed overall with the unit. I think it is a lot cleaner than doing something with sandblasting, but even with anything, you got to watch your temperatures or you will cause a lot of warpage. So even if I did a little bit there, like I said, I can kind of ping that. It's no big deal. One thing I'm gonna start doing is filling holes. So I'm gonna use it again to kind of clean up my firewall and get some of this epoxy primer off. I think at the end of the day, what's kind of cool about it is it can take it off if you're right with the temperatures, you get the procedure down, versus using something that's like sanding, because although you're taking the paint off, you are still taking some of the actual steel off. So you are removing some of the substrate layer. So you got to watch about that, because if you get it too thin, then you get problems later. Whereas this, you're not taking any of the steel off. And even with sandblasting, it's abrasive. So you are actually still damaging the steel. So again, once you kind of get the passes, the temperature right,
You're not removing anything from the actual metal itself. So I think at the end of the day, that's better. Time will tell. I'll do some more test videos and reviews, but just want to get another one going to kind of show you what it looks like in a practical application. See you in the next one.